So,
Right over the
5,
Maid's
4, 3, 2, 1, and we are live, son.
Beanie Brothers back in town for another DT and PS podcast.
Absolutely.
Peter Sullivan, Darren Timms.
Yeah, and it's Friday, 5:30, I believe. You should all be home from work by now, and if not, get a new job.
Get a new job, yeah. You don't want to be working 9 to 5. Times are changing.
All joking aside, the trademark,
yes.
bare feet.
Mr. Sullivan still needs to pick up his game and make sure he adheres to all rules of coaching sessions.
All the rules of coaching, which means grounding whenever possible. We've been over it a million times, Pete. Bare feet whenever you can. Concrete, grass, sand, water. I care not for it, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just make sure you ground them.
Yeah. Wish
okay.
you could see the floor here being a bit muddy and leafy. Not the most pleasant, but
Yeah,
an
true.
essential part of
It's true.
personal and spiritual development, right?
It's true. We prepared for a rainy podcast again, as we did on the Wednesday, and I found this beautiful huge umbrella that was sat underneath now, but the sun's come out. The sun's come out, and we appear a little overdressed for the occasion. But
Yeah.
ho hum, we'll continue.
Yeah.
So Pete, I haven't seen you since Wednesday.
Yes,
How are you,
that's
brother?
right. I'm very well, thank you.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
how are you?
Yeah. Can't complain.
We missed yesterday because I was up in London closing a technology deal for a platform that I've been working on that you've also been coaching me on.
Yeah, how's that going?
Which, it's going very well. And it kindly, neatly leads in to the theme and the topic of today, which is what you were mentioning to me, which is all about being your movie star of your own movie script.
Absolutely. So, if life is a movie, which for all intent and purposes it is, what type of movie would your life depict? If you had to name a genre which your life correlated most closely to,
Yes.
as a movie,
Yeah.
what would your movie be? I'll give you an example. Would it be a romantic comedy? I'm not going to say any more than that, because I want you to name your own movie. So, Pete, if your life correlated to a movie, what would your movie be?
If I were to liken it to a movie, it would probably be something like The Equalizer with Denzel Washington as Robert McCall.
Okay. What's the theme on that?
The theme on that is, for me, Robert McCall is a very rational person. He's also quite earthly. He's very strong, and he's very reasonable. He's very resourceful.
Okay.
And I just generally like that kind of role and character he plays.
Uh-huh.
There is a little bit of a combination of another movie character in there as well,
Okay.
which is The Wolf of Wall Street and
Okay.
Jordan Belfort.
All right.
I really like his kind of selling technique that he teaches in that, which is quite powerful. I'm not so strong on the material side of things,
Okay.
because I think people can get lost in that a little bit too much.
All right.
But certainly his direction and actions that he goes through in order to bring his vision into reality is something that I admire.
Sure.
And when you look at any professional athlete or high-profile business person, they have that. They're able to create that vision and
Okay.
put that action plan and move towards it.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work, then they look at their script
Uh-huh.
and they decide to, okay, well, maybe my co-stars in this script aren't serving my purpose and helping me to elevate it, which
Very
is
good.
something that you talk about in a previous podcast.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. So every morning when you wake up, first of all, know what movie you are in. I want you to identify with different archetypes, actors and actresses in different movies that correlate in some way to your own life, running parallel to your own experience. So your movie may be a drama, where you wake up in the morning, your whole life is dramatic.
Yes.
And your co-stars that you have cast in the role to oppose you as a dramatic co-star, walking the stage with you and feeding you that need for drama.
Yeah.
We all do it, either consciously or unconsciously. All the people that interact with us on a daily basis of our choice, they become part of our inner movie that we write on a daily basis. Who we call, who we spend time with, who we prefer to be with our chosen time, not the time where you have to spend with them at work, or family. Sometimes, you know, that family can be very fractured. Who you choose to spend time with is who you become, and the 5 people that you spend all your time with is truly who you become.
Wow.
So look at those 5 people.
So the 5 people you spend time with. So you have to be really careful on being aware of who you're actually spending your time with, because true. They may not be fueling your purpose and direction that you have.
Absolutely. So when you can answer, what movie am I in on a daily basis, does that serve me? Is it a romantic comedy which with all the ups and downs of life and the peaks and the troughs, the valleys and the mountains, or is it something that, hey, I'm stuck in this very bad movie script that I can't get out of? But here's the thing, Pete, you can get out of it. Why? Because you are the director of your own movie.
Wow. Okay, I like that.
Okay, so you can rewrite that script anytime you choose. You can shout action, and you can shout cut. You can fire and you can hire.
Wow.
It's entirely up to you, because you are the director of your own movie. So start taking control of your movie.
Yeah, and I guess that also comes back to a person's ability to be able to be responsible and take the responsibility to take control of their own movie script, because some people might not like to do that, because they could be a bit fearful about cutting some people out of their lives, because it's
a good point.
Serve an important purpose in their life.
That's a good point, and we have to be careful and mature always. When we start taking responsibility, comes massive power. Massive power.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's not about just cutting and burning everything out of your life that doesn't align with you perfectly. Yeah. You've got to be mature about this. You've got to look very closely and then step back objectively and have a look out.
Nice. Right? I like that. So it's almost as though you're viewing yourself and your movie script from a third-party perspective.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Looking down on it, because when you're too close to it, you can't see. If I take a £20 note out of my pocket and I put it there, what can you see of it?
I see fuck all. I see, sorry, excuse my language.
Exactly. He can see nothing if I put a £20 note here, yet if I hold it away from him, he can see all the detail. I'll give you a great example. Our nose is right above our top lip, yet if we don't brush our teeth for 3 or 4 days, the whole room will smell it before you can smell it with your own nose.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? It's for no coincidence that the nose is there to keep you informed of what's going on and of your choices. Yet the whole room will know you've got bad breath, but you won't, because we're too close. We have to step back and objectively look down on what's happening, or get a friend, somebody that you trust, somebody that you love, to open up and ask them, hey, am I being my greatest version?
Yes.
Or am I letting myself down in some way? Because I want you as my friend, and as my wife does the same. I don't want you to not hold me responsible for my highest level of being, right? Because that's not what friendship is to me. I don't want to live a life of mediocrity when I know that I can be doing so much more. So I want you to say, hey Darren, you're not performing at your best here. You're letting yourself down. Have a look at this. That for me is friendship. A friend doesn't just support you unequivocally because you think that that's what friends do. A friend doesn't help you there.
No, he doesn't.
Right? If you keep repeatedly doing the same thing.
If he's just a yes person all the time, then what type of friend is he? He's just maybe there for his own convenience.
Absolutely. And I think this is so damn important to distinguish. A real friend will hold you accountable for your choices. Are you screwing around behind your partner's back when they don't deserve it? Your friend owes it to you. Say, hey, that's a good man, that's a good woman you've got there.
And the reason why a good friend is able to do that is because he's able to have that objective view outside and say to you, hey, I'm looking at it from an objective position here. I'm not attached to the situation, and this is kind of from my own understanding what I think would be best suited to you, and guidance from an honest place and not from a malicious side.
Absolutely. We mentioned it on Wednesday that if you ask for advice, then be prepared to listen to it, because somebody with an open mind, an open heart, will see advice not as a criticism, but as a way of trying to make you see your error of your ways and your bad choices. See, somebody with a strong ego will always push back against any perceived criticism. Yet the open, loving, growing human being will see it as constructive
feedback.
Feedback, absolutely. One sees criticism, one sees feedback. Which one are you? When your friends and your family and your partners and life begins to trigger you by letting you know that what you're doing is not working, how do you respond? Do you react, which is egoic, instantaneously, in an aggressive manner, and an egoic defensive manner? Or do you take a few breaths, wait 10 seconds, 10 minutes, an hour maybe, and then think, you know what, that guy or that girl, she makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think that's an amazing point that you're making there, because it's the ability to be able to detach yourself from a situation or a relationship, to be able to objectively look at it from almost a third-party perspective. Wonderful. And say, okay, all right, now I'm feeling a bit more detached about this situation. What is actually the best piece of advice for me to listen to, or should I listen to maybe your own advice?
Okay, wonderful, beautiful. And we can listen to our own advice. There's nothing that I can't tell you that you don't know already. And this is very powerful. If I tell you something, or if I make a statement on whatever level, and you are unaware of it until I make it, yet I see you nodding your head and smiling in agreement with me, how did you know that? Where did your knowing come from?
Yes.
Right. It's already come from a reference of knowing everything. Anyway, I've just unearthed what you already knew.
Yes.
Inside each of you, there is a Buddha, there's a Krishna, there's a Jesus, there's all these avatars that have come here to propel humanity forward.
Yeah.
And we're all that. You know, Jesus said very clearly, right?
Yeah.
You can do all the things I did and more.
Yeah.
So don't fool yourself, right? You know everything already. Don't think you're ignorant. Don't think you're naive. You're not. You are infinite potential, wrapped up in this biological meat wagon with all stories running in your head that tell you can't do it.
Yeah, and it's almost our attachments and our learning that we experience through life and that we have through our interactions that hold us back from really realizing our true potential, because we become attached to nice things and we think that that's the purpose of life, is to go out there and pursue those things.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because there's nothing wrong with having nice things.
Yeah,
there really isn't. I think life,
it's just whether or not you become very attached to it, and it becomes almost holds you back in a way, because it becomes an attachment. It stops you from achieving some other aspect of your spiritual development, which we all will go through when we reach our maker at the end of our lives, I guess.
Absolutely. If there is somebody that you answer to, then he'll see what's in your heart and he will judge you accordingly. I've got no idea. I think that this is why retail therapy can be such a powerful addiction. Yeah, right.
I've been addicted to that myself in the past, living in Dubai. Yeah.
What is it you're addicted to? You're not addicted to the shopping itself. You're addicted to the novelty of something new with a shiny label on, that the external world can say, hey, he's wearing D&G.
Yes.
He's driving around in a Lamborghini Countach, whatever it is, but it's all external validation. Yeah. And here's the thing, as we know, in psychology, there is a term called the law of diminishing returns, which means that if I take you to the best restaurant in the world, that serves the best burgers, I know you like a burger or two,
I love a good burger,
and they serve the best burger in the world, acknowledged as the best burger, within 3 visits already you will be used to that. It will be normal for you. It will be no longer that special burger that you've never experienced before. And humanity are specialists at diving into the law of diminishing returns. Whatever it is, we get used to something, we raise the bar, and we have to keep looking for something more to get the same feeling.
Wow.
Right? Which is why retail therapy is so damn dangerous, because you've got to keep raising the bar and keep buying shit that you don't need in order to impress people that you don't know.
Yeah. And the people aren't really that impressed anyway.
Exactly.
It's all a perceived reality in your own movie script that you're living, right?
Exactly. And why are they not impressed? Because they're so damn introspective of their own lives.
Yeah, they're running their own movie script. They don't give a shit about yours.
Exactly. So it's quite a comical paradox, all this. But it's a funny one.
Yeah, and I like the way when you're talking about this third-party perspective, it reminds me of the spiritualist Anthony de Mello. And he said, you only become your depression when you associate yourself with your depression.
Absolutely.
So and even the language that you use is like, oh, I'm feeling so depressed and sad at the moment. You're just confirming to yourself that you are your depression.
Great point.
But in actual fact, depression is only something that you experience, and your experiences change. Therefore, you are not your depression. You may be experiencing one.
Yes.
But you have that detachment from it.
Absolutely.
And then then that allows you to look at it from a more objective third-party perspective, and let it drop from your hands a lot easier.
Beautiful. Now, for everybody out there that are suffering from depression and depressive tendencies, we fully sympathise. And here's the thing: there are people out in the world, Pete, who are clinically depressed through no fault of their own. A very, very small minority that can't create the hormones responsible to retain parity of their happiness.
It's almost a chemical reaction.
It's a chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
There's a very, very small few that fall into that category of not being able to produce the neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
You know, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins, and for them, you know, medication is damn important. So we're not giving medical advice here. There are people out there that have to get that medication. For all others, it was garden variety sadness that turned into depression by going so introspective into your own problems, realizing there was no way out, just focusing solely on what's happening in your life, forgetting that it's about we and not about me. And then if you do something repetitively enough over a period of time, this is what happens, including depression. You become that, and you think that's who you are, but like Pete said, that's not who you are. You're having a depressive experience. People come out of depression all the time because they change their focus. Right? What you focus on is what you become over a period of time. If you focus on what you don't want, you're going to get more of what you don't want. That's just the law of attraction. Right? So if I'm driving a car and let me just finish this bit.
I love it.
If I'm driving a car towards on the ice somewhere, and I'm going towards a lamppost, and I go into a side skid, what am I going to do? Am I going to hold on for dear life and look at the lamppost and just hope for the best? Or am I going to try and steer into the direction I need to escape the lamppost? Right? So moving away from what you don't want is not the same as moving towards that which you do want.
Right? Beautiful. Okay. Yeah. I notice that actually when I'm cycling around Oxford and I see people are kind of crossing over me the whole time. If I actually look at them, I end up cycling right into them. So you always have to make sure that you're looking in the right direction when you're riding a bicycle, otherwise you might end up over your handlebars or in the lap of some beautiful young lady.
For sure.
That's. But it also goes for the same, because you are also not your happiness.
It's just another feeling, right?
It's another feeling.
What creates the feeling?
Yeah, and you mentioned that vision there, which is. Again, it's something which we keep on coming back to, and it's something that's really important when you're sitting down and you're thinking about that movie script, because you need to know what kind of movie it is that you want to be writing. What character are you playing within your movie script?
Absolutely, very well put, Pete. It's what movie are you in, and what role are you playing in your movie? When we go back to that, see, if I had to tell you what movie I'm in, it would certainly be the hero's journey. You know, the dark night of the soul, where I enter into the dragon's lair and I'm trying to slay that fucking dragon, right? And which refuses to lay down before I can emerge victorious on the other side. And that's where I am right now, battling with my own demons and going into that lair and taking on that dragon full force. And right now the dragon he's not giving an inch, but that's my journey. My character is being forged in the fire of his breath. Every time he breathes on me, it's like, whoa, another punch in the face. But it's okay, I just keep coming back. I get up, gather my thoughts, and I go again. I figure out how am I going to slay this fucker?
Yes. Yeah.
And I won't stop until I've slayed him and emerged victorious from that climb.
Yeah.
And out the other side.
Yeah, amazing. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really like The Equalizer, is because Denzel Washington kind of goes out and does that against the bad guys as well, and emerges victorious as the good guy.
For Denzel Washington and The Equalizer,
actor,
for him, the means justified the ends.
Yes.
So even if it meant taking out 20 crime lords in the most brutal way, he justified it thinking, they're bad people, this is my means to an end.
Yeah.
But whatever that is, whatever that archetype says to you or suggests to you, you recognise a part of you in him.
Yeah.
Right? And so I want you to recognise yourself in certain movie scripts and certain archetypes which you could play. And if it doesn't serve you, rewrite the movie and raise your standards again.
Yeah.
Right? Change the script, change the actors.
And it's also quite important to be aware of actually kind of where you're spending your time and what movies you're watching.
Very, very, very important. Very good point, Pete. What are you watching?
Yeah.
What are you attracted to? Are you attracted to watching serial killers?
Yeah.
Right?
Don't scare me.
Yeah.
Don't scare me.
Are you attracted to watching psychopathy? Are you attracted to watching Jim Carrey become enlightened? You know,
Yeah.
are you attracted to Tony Robbins every morning telling you how to prime yourself for the first hour?
Or even EastEnders, because it's
EastEnders.
sad and depressing TV, which
Absolutely.
maybe it makes you feel a little bit better.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah.
I think it's that most of the population can relate to the sadness and the general malaise and the undercurrent of unhappiness in the dynamics of EastEnders.
That's kind of sad and dangerous.
It's very sad and dangerous, but I've always been a realist, and so if you look at people going about their lives, the majority of people don't enjoy what they do,
Yeah.
and they spend the majority of their life in a job they don't enjoy doing.
Wow.
So they come home, they haven't got time to sit in front of a laptop and Google, spiritual enlightenment, how to prime myself for tomorrow morning, what can I do to get myself out of this rut. What do? They put their feet up, they get a cup of tea, on goes EastEnders, on goes Celebrity Love Island, on goes Simon Cowell, fucking belittling these people from all over the world as they snigger and stare at these people trying to make their 15 minutes of fame work.
Yeah.
And we often look at it, we watch it transfixed. We are literally in a trance with this rubbish that we get involved with, right?
And it is there to entertain us. It's there to be able to keep us in that psychological loop.
Exactly.
Because
absolutely
for a much deeper reason, isn't there?
Yeah, and without a doubt, what we watch and what we say and what we do carries with it a frequency. We discussed this before. The frequency of pain, fear, death, famine, biohazard, terrorist groups. It was interesting, wasn't it, when Bin Laden was finally captured?
Yeah.
The most wanted terrorist in the history of humanity was dumped into the ocean with not a single piece of evidence.
Yeah.
And then before you could shout fucking Osama bin Laden his oversized sandals were filled by ISIL and ISIS and another terrorist group that we had to be fearful of the bogeyman.
Yeah.
Right? It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a dangerous, that whole kind of frequency aspect, and I guess even as human beings, we're 10% transmitter and 90% receiver.
Yes,
is what somebody, a physicist, once told me.
Yeah, we are. We are receiving input and we are transmitting output, like a magnet. And like magnets that repel one another, we also repel one another. When you walk into a room and you meet somebody for the first time, no words have to be exchanged. Your energy instantly knows whether I'm compatible with this person in front of me.
Yeah, or not.
Or not, because we are energetic beings first and we are verbalizing beings second.
Yeah, and I think quite often we forget that we are energetic beings, and we kind of almost think ourselves as just, I guess, normal. We don't even think about it, do we? We don't even realise that
we
we're
don't even.
energetic
We were never taught at school that we are this energetic, multi-dimensional human being.
Yes.
But what we are is more than that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because we are a multi-dimensional spiritual being having a human experience.
Yes.
Not the other way around.
Which is interesting because it also goes into the thought process of the space in between all of the matter, and there is more space within all of the atoms that make up your physical body than there is actual matter.
Well, this will blow your mind. Here's a little factoid for you. If we took the nuclei of the atom, which is the solid part of the atom, on planet Earth, the hard part of the atom, every atom on the planet Earth would fit inside a baseball.
Wow.
Everything else is empty space. Now here's the thing. Empty space is not inactive. It is vibrating at different speeds. For instance, if you want to drive your car through a tornado at 180 miles an hour, hitting it would be like hitting a brick wall. And what is it? It's just energy that's compacted and spinning at a certain rate of knots, which gives it the illusion of solidity.
Yes.
Right?
And that's why we have different kind of forms of structure, like solid, liquid and gas, that are all vibrating at different speeds in order to be able to give them their physical form.
Absolutely. So for water, for instance, water in its liquid form is a very, very definitive structure.
Yeah.
But you freeze that, right? What's happened to the water? It's transformed into something a little different.
Yeah.
Yet it's become very solid as opposed to being porous.
Yes. Yeah.
So everything is just being manipulated by nature to appear solid, and we don't want to go down that quantum rabbit hole.
Might be a little bit deep.
It might be a little bit deep, but it's interesting to understand that when people say that nothing's solid, what they're stating is actually correct. But what they don't explain to you is that everything is vibrating at a certain speed, which means that when it vibrates fast enough, it creates a solidity that you can't get through. Right? I think this is very important to distinguish between that. A great example, those floor fans, you know, the fans that we have in Dubai to keep the place cold, with those 4 blades.
Yeah.
When they're off, you can put your hand
Right through it.
right through the gaps.
Yeah.
But when we put it on full speed, you can't even put a bit of paper through the gap.
No.
It just chops it up, right?
Yeah.
Why is that? It's created the illusion of solidity by the speed of its vibration.
Yes.
Okay, and so that's all. That's what it is. When people say there's no solidity on planet Earth or in the universe, they're right. But everything is solid because of the rate they're vibrating at.
Yeah, and even when you go into the into sounds and the geometric shapes that are created by the vibrational frequencies of sand on a metal plate, for example.
Yes.
Create these kind of beautiful shapes,
Absolutely.
which are all formed out of the vibration or the sound that's produced by
Absolutely.
somebody stringing a guitar or
It's beautiful. Tesla said very, very eloquently, if we want to make progress in the next century, way above that we've already previously experienced, then think in terms of frequency, energy, and data.
frequency, energy, and data.
Yeah, well, that's because that's effectively what we are. We live in an energetic universe where everything vibrates at its own dimension, its own resonance. Okay, so but getting back on point to your movie, that is all correlated to one's self-image.
Yes.
And your self-identity.
And having the belief and the confidence and almost the faith that you are that image that you are creating in your mind, and removing that conflict that you may form as you kind of go through life. So there may be some people that don't actually believe in your script.
Okay, absolutely not. And why should they? They're experiencing life subjectively.
Exactly, and they've got their own script. So you have to have the faith that it will materialize and that you will be successful. And that doesn't mean that you can't change or pivot along the way. You know, having come and worked on a number of different businesses in life, the route to success is never a straight line.
Absolutely not.
You have to pivot and change in so many different directions, but there is that underlying faith and belief that you will be successful.
Sure, and that correlates to your self-image. If you believe yourself to be successful, you will do anything in your power to align yourself with success.
Yeah.
For instance, if you are someone that gave up smoking a year ago, and you keep referring to yourself as a non-smoker in remission, guess what? You still haven't moved away from the mindset of being a smoker, right? So until you think of yourself, hey, I'm now an athlete, which means I don't put rubbish into my lungs, I do what I can to increase my lung capacity through walking, running, gym, whatever it is, and I'm no longer associated with cigarettes, tobacco or nicotine. As long as you keep correlating your choices back to what you used to be, you are instructing your servo mechanism in your mind to be exactly that. The same with somebody who's overweight. I'm big boned. My mother and my auntie was fat.
Yes.
Right. I've got no enthusiasm because my father had no. It's all stories and it's rubbish. It's crap. It's shite. Stop it.
It's all of those old programs that you got still playing in your computer, in your brain. That's there, which are not serving you.
They're not serving you. So people come to me and they say, Darren, I have tried everything to stop eating Cadbury's fruit and nut.
They sound a bit fruit and nut.
Yeah, right.
No offence if it was you who was watching.
If you're watching,
sorry.
You will remain anonymous, I swear.
Yeah.
Somebody came to me and said, I can't stop eating Cadbury's fruit and nut, a family bar.
Yeah.
Will I sit on the sofa and watch watch some reality TV?
Yeah.
And I say, okay, first of all, that's an erroneous statement. Why? Because you haven't tried everything.
Yeah.
Because you don't know everything.
Yes.
True?
Yeah.
Secondly, I'm here to tell you, it's not about your ability to give up anything, it's about your lack of motivation.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, this is interesting.
You get it?
Yeah.
It's not about your ability. When your shoulds become your musts, then you will move.
Yeah.
You will do anything when you must do it, which means we will always meet our musts, but we rarely meet our shoulds.
Yeah, which is why, and this is a kind of a common theme which you keep on coming back in all of our videos, is the importance of being able to raise your standards.
Raise your standards, Pete, exactly. Those 3 words, raise your standards. And going back to the client who told me that they couldn't change after trying so many times, I got leverage over him or her, doesn't matter who it was, by asking a very simple question. Who do you love most in the world? What I can tell you is it won't be you. You don't love yourself as much as you should. Why? Because you wouldn't allow yourself to be 30 kilos overweight, for one. Secondly, you wouldn't be putting junk in your body day and night. Because if you had self-esteem, and if you loved yourself, this beautiful vehicle that you've been afforded to manifest on Earth under the most miraculous of odds, you would take care of. I bet people take more care of their car than they do take care of their bodies. Yeah. Servicing, the right fuel.
They do.
Yeah. If you've got diesel in a Ferrari, how far are you going to go?
Yeah, not very far.
Okay, not very far at all. And you'll fuck the engine. The same with this engine. Yet we think that we're bulletproof, that we'll keep repairing ourselves. Yeah. And then when we do become ill, we point the finger and said, Cadbury's fruit and nut did this to me. Yes. No, you did it to yourself by keep eating Cadbury's fruit and nut. Yeah. It's a different thing.
And that also comes back again to this whole movie script where they're just not in love with the movie script and the vision that they've formed in their mind.
Absolutely, Pete.
And they don't like it, so they're like, oh, what the fuck, I'm 30 kilos overweight already. I'll just keep on eating. Can't get any better.
They've given up.
Given up.
They've given up.
And they don't realise the potential that they have for change.
Very, very powerful.
And success is the ability to be able to adapt to change.
Absolutely, and success is also being able to face adversity and failure over and over again, but don't lose enthusiasm for the fight.
Yes. Yeah. Babe Ruth. Right. Babe Ruth was regarded as the best baseball hitter of all time, and you only hear about his successes. Yes. But he also held the record for the most strikeouts.
Absolutely, Pete. Very good point. So I hope you guys are getting this. You can change. If you can't do it alone, get a coach. You employ a coach. If you want to get on in life, role model those who have achieved what it is you're trying to get to. Yeah. And don't take advice from people that haven't done what you need to achieve.
And that has been a major learning point for me, because I get some crazy ideas sometimes, and I go and I pursue them to see how commercially viable they are, and then sometimes I seek the approval from people that haven't achieved it in that specific industry.
And how does that work out for you?
Terrible. They have a fucking clue.
Of course.
I feel like I'm asking a basketball coach how to swim or something stupid,
And that basketball coach may swim very well. But
yeah, he may swim very well, but it's not his profession.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, wonderful. So you can succeed. If you can't do it alone, get a coach. It's okay. We get it.
Yeah.
I have my own coach, I have my own therapist, and I know Pete has.
Yeah, you just sat right here. This is why I'm doing the video.
There's no stigma attached to it. Going back to the leverage about I've tried everything.
Yeah.
And it's not about your ability, but your lack of motivation. What I'm going to say now, guys, is you're going to find this very harsh, because the example I'm going to give is going to be is very harsh, but it will wake you up to what it is I'm trying to tell you. So, I asked this person, who do you love the most? Wasn't her husband, obviously wasn't herself, it was her son.
Wow.
She had a 9-year-old son. And I said, okay, you love your 9-year-old son the most, he's your everything. I said, let's say that I'm a mafia boss, and you have something that I want. And I come to your house late one night, or I send my goons late one night, and we take your son away. And we hold him captive for 2 or 3 days while you're absolutely frantic and out of your mind. Now here's the thing. Then I make a phone call. Hey, I have little Johnny here with me. You want to see him again? You'll do anything? Yes, yeah, I'll do anything. Okay. Can you give up eating Cadbury's fruit and nut? Will you have another bite of Cadbury's fruit and nut? If you do, you will see your son again.
Yeah.
But in pieces.
Yeah.
How would that grab you? Would that be enough leverage for you to say, I will never touch Cadbury's fruit and nut again in my life? Could you do that? So what have I just displayed?
Go on.
It's not your ability to get something done. It's not that you can't, it's that you fucking won't.
Yes. Your why isn't big enough.
Your why isn't big enough. Your pain levels aren't big enough.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah, and this is also depicted in the movie Fight Club, where he goes into I think it's a convenience store, and he pulls out the Korean guy, and he puts a gun to his head, and he says, "What is it that you ever wanted to achieve in your life? What was it that you never did that you wanted to do?" And he comes up, he says, "I wanted to be a vet." And then the next day, the guy is, he doesn't shoot him in the head in the end, and he runs off, and he suddenly feels motivated that he's still alive.
Absolutely, right? Because we take things for granted.
Yeah.
We take things for granted. It's not until serious adversity pays you a visit, or serious illness pays you a visit, do you sort of buck up and think, you know what? I am so fortunate to be healthy. All my faculties are in place. Yeah,
which is a really important and beautiful point that comes back to one of the very first actions that a person should do, or in my opinion, that I try and do, and I know you do as well, is pay gratitude. Pay gratitude to what it is that you have.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
An attitude of gratitude will change everything for you guys. When you wake up in the morning and you can really be grateful for what you have, and you're focusing on what you do have instead of focusing on what you don't.
Yeah, and the benefit of focusing on what you do have is then you're kind of like a little kid when you're building Lego. You kind of got the foundations there, and you've got a few more Lego bricks, and you kind of add into it. Next thing you know, you've built yourself a nice little castle.
Absolutely, Pete.
So it's about building on those, on the things that you have, rather than looking at the things that you don't have.
Building momentum, getting momentum, because when we get momentum, we meet that need for progress.
Yes.
And progress is a fundamental need of humanity to feel that your life is meaningful.
Yeah.
And so when we make progress in any area of life, if you go to the gym and you get a PB, you've made progress. If you're learning a new language and you can string together a new sentence, you've made progress.
Yeah.
If you're learning to play an instrument, a guitar, and you can play 2 or 3 notes that you couldn't yesterday, it's progress.
Yeah.
And that is the one fundamental emotion we must keep meeting. So when people go backwards and their life becomes despairing without any hope, then life gets really tough. And I feel, you guys, honestly, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But everybody falls down. Yeah. Everybody falls and slips back on the mountain. But it's who you get up and how you keep climbing that will define you.
Yeah.
Right? Because that mountain is topless. It has no summit. You think you're getting close to the top, you wake up in the morning and damn, you're back at the bottom again.
Yeah.
Climbing again.
And they talk a little bit about this, about the ability to be able to fall forward. And that falling forward is, well, okay, I wasn't successful at that particular task, but I've learned from it and I can grow from that.
Sure, wonderful. So going back to the being your best version, your greatest version, right? If Pete was now in front of me as a client, I would ask him some very real questions. I would ask him, I'd say, okay, Pete.
I'm not prepared for this.
Exactly, he's not prepared at all. He's not, this is spontaneity. This is spontaneity at its best and live. Okay.
600 viewers.
Okay. So if we look at this, my palm, and sat here on my left is your ultimate greatest version of yourself.
Yes.
And I asked you, what does he look like?
Yeah.
How is he holding himself? How does he breathe? How does he convey his message to the world? How does he think? Right? If you had to say your ideal archetype, your strongest self, how is he dressed, first of all?
How is he dressed? Wow. He's dressed in a very crisp white polo shirt with blue jeans and Timberland boot, and he is wearing a nice watch, and he has a pair of meditation beads around his neck.
Beautiful. Okay. How is he? Is he standing or is he sitting, Pete?
He's sitting and he's very relaxed.
He's very relaxed. Okay. Yeah. How is he breathing?
He's very calm, collective, and he's looking at me, smiling right now.
Okay. What wonderful. Wonderful. Okay.
Hold on.
How does he convey himself to the world?
In a very positive, calm, and pleasant demeanour.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not egotistical.
Okay.
He's relaxed. He's earthy. He's strong.
Wonderful.
He's reasonable. He's rational. He's robust.
Beautiful. I love it.
He's loving. He's caring.
How does he see the world?
A
dangerous place to live in, or a loving place to live in, a place of optimism, a place of half full or half empty?
He sees it as anything is possible.
Okay.
Anything is possible.
Okay. And what does he hear? What does he tune into?
Nature.
Nature.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's all about nature.
Okay.
He's all about being at one with the world.
Okay. So that's a beautiful archetype, right, for Peter. That's Peter's ultimate best version of himself. Now, if you can do the same with yourself, put them in front of you and ask the same questions, and then when you've built your archetype, I want you to close your eyes and walk around the back of him or her and walk straight into them.
Wow.
Stand up.
Deep.
Stand up and open your eyes and look at the world through the eyes of your greatest self.
Amazing.
Right?
That's really interesting, because, and we actually hadn't scripted this, and it was completely off the bat. But when you asked me that, I because of the visualization exercises which we'd done in the past, I was able to visualize that very, very clearly.
Okay.
And it came to me without any hesitation.
Beautiful.
It was there.
Beautiful.
And now that whole stepping through process, what I'm able to understand from that is that you can become that hero within your own movie script.
Absolutely, because he is your hero, right?
Yeah.
He is your hero. So what movie would your hero be in? That's a good question. What from The Equalizer to the other one you mentioned, what movie would your hero now be in as that archetype? On the spot.
It'd be an X-Men. Yeah,
okay,
it'd be an X-Men.
Okay. So there, what have we done there? What have we done there? We
rewrote the script.
Exactly. So Pete's greatest version is an archetype of a superhero doing good in the world, but from a place of strength.
Or Neo. Or more,
absolutely. Again, still somebody who's changing things, but a little different from the Edward Fox character or the Denzel character on The Equalizer. I want you guys to do the same. I want you to really think about your greatest version sat opposite you, and how do they look, how do they see, how do they feel, how do they hold themselves, what body shape are they, what do they eat, what's their morning routine like, how do they prime themselves, how do they deal with adversity, how do they deal with pain? When you can answer all those questions and you can see her or him, get up, but only through visualization, close your eyes, step into them, open your eyes, and feel what it's like to exist as your greatest version.
Wow.
Deep, right?
Yeah, that's deep. I like this. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And, sorry guys, because it's getting a little late. I do have a client in 20 minutes, so I'm going to have to cut this a little bit short. But I hope you've got some value from this.
Yeah.
It's been fun, as
been
always.
Very good, yeah.
Great spending time with my friend Pete. As always.
Dini Brothers,
Exactly. And until the next time, Facebook fam, be awesome.
Yeah, peace.
Peace.
All right. Good night.